Okay, it's morning and the sun is just coming up in Oklahoma City. Now it is not even 80 degrees, but the humidity is really high up there, so it feels worse than it is. Oklahoma City is actually a nice city, and how I really like it is your ability to kind of get around the city. It's actually pretty easy. I mean, there is some construction which make some of the things difficult. Easy to get around, decent parking, so it's not like a place where you're constantly fighting for like a place to park or a place to whatnot. Personally, I have to get going because they say there's going to be a heat index today. By noon, it's supposed to get 100 degrees here, and I want to be as far from here as I can be. Heading east, and they say there's a bunch of thunderstorms and extreme weather. I think that's code word for possibility of tornadoes, so we'll keep my eagle eye. You know what's funny? How much you really learn about being able to look at the clouds and judge the weather when you kind of do these trips. I mean, I'm getting to be a decent meteorologist. Okay, off we go. Eastern Oklahoma. What can you really say? Not much. You know, I've scurried my brain and I did a little quick search of stuff in Eastern Oklahoma. A couple things popped up, but nothing that interesting. My main concern getting out was, of course, the weather. And you can kind of see the clouds on the horizon. And definitely when you hear people say, the weathermen say extreme weather, it does perk the ears up. Because, you know, I don't think the weather people actually want to say words like tornado or anything like that. So they probably use these alternative phrases, you know? So I took extreme weather to mean tornadoes. And you can just see it on the horizon. And it was all over the place. And I was headed towards it, constantly stopping, checking my phone, looking at the radar screen, maybe changing direction, going here, going there. But I was going to fight my way around because, again, I was moving. You know, I just wanted to stop in this little Oklahoma town. You know, the brick street is, you know, kind of interesting. The Mexican restaurant, just kind of like, this is out the street, out of nowhere. You know, those clouds. Yeah. We'll see, you know, the extreme weather's not supposed to start until noon or something like that. But there might be a drizzle or something like that in store for me. But whatever. Continue on down. I can go through a drizzle. Just keep an eye out for tornadoes. Going down the road, I kind of thought like, well, you know, I've seen a lot of tornadoes, at least on TV or whatnot. In real life, you know, you're just kind of thinking like, well, I kind of was hoping for some warning signs because, you know, well, every other natural disaster kind of gives it off except like, you know, earthquake. So we would see. Just a quick stop here, just to show everybody that this is what the meteorologist says not raining. It's too wet to be raining. I mean, really. I mean, you should say it's going to be drizzling, it's going to be blah, 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 blah. But no. We get stuff like... I gotta ask, where are those going? I've seen so many of them on the road today. What is in this area? I mean, Eastern Oklahoma. The one thing I realized through this trip is that meteorologists are just like terrible at their jobs. I mean, this was not supposed to be raining, but what do I know? I never did quite figure out about the trucks, though. And that one kind of perplexed me because I saw a lot of trucks, and I didn't really kind of get anything from it. And I didn't meet anybody who gave me any kind of like information on this. So my best guess was that there's only a limited number of roads between Oklahoma and into Arkansas. There's no, like, the interstate highway is not as prolific and dynamic as some people might believe. So I'm guessing that some of the shortest routes between some of the cities and kind of like eastern Oklahoma down into the mid-Arkansas region are just so sparse, and that these trucks need to do it. So they're on a lot of these smaller roads. Just look at this. Worcester State Park. It's a lake. That's actually a dam right there. There's a real small river that's running to it. I don't know if they really need a dam. I guess they do. I mean, I guess maybe the river is running from the lake? I do not know. But who would have thought that eastern Oklahoma was so green? Sounds like a good theory to kind of go with it. But then, you know, I could kind of really get into the enjoyment of it, because after I got into Arkansas, the weather just kind of like, well, it kind of stayed overcast, but it just started to like wood up, and like some of it was swamp, some of it was just like woods, but it actually became kind of an enjoyable ride. And actually some of it became just like a gorgeous ride in its own right, because of just how forested it was. I didn't realize how western Arkansas was. And eventually I hit a national forest, or it's a natural park called Hot Springs Natural Park. And in it is just like a great thing. And it gets its name basically because there are natural hot springs that bubble up. Like, I think the water, they say, comes up at 144 degrees naturally from hot springs or whatnot. I got plenty of video on that later. But as it is like western Arkansas is great. It's really kind of interesting terrain, interesting land. I mean, they I talked to a few people in Arkansas and said, "Hey, what's in this area?" And they pointed me to like fishing spots. And of course, I don't have any fishing gear, so I don't know why they would point me towards fishing. They pointed me towards a lot of people hauling ATVs and four-wheelers and dirt bikes around. So it's a pretty active area. And this did get quite interesting as you kind of go through it, and just kind of like the party land. One area I did, it's so interesting in Arkansas compared to other areas. In Arkansas, there'll be fires all over the place because people will just take all the underbrush, pile it up, light it on fire. What a difference from the West Coast, where you can't even smoke because they fear that the ash from the smoke might start a wildfire. Arkansas, nobody cares. It just pile it up and set it on fire. So when I saw smoke, more often than not, that's what it was.
just sitting here enjoying the natural forest. Found some nice curves and just like creating some space between me and the guy in front of me. Pretty dense forest too. This is a national forest. Okiata, I don't know. But it's nice, and you can definitely feel the heat rising and the humidity. It's right up there.
But through all the twists and turns, through all the fun, I was finally coming into the town, Hot Springs, Arkansas. You know, kind of goes along with it. And I would say this, the one sign I saw coming into town said, "The boyhood home of Bill Clinton." It's always interesting when you see these little signs here and there, but in reality, like, I saw something about, like, the college home of Ronald Reagan, I think in Nebraska. It's just those little anecdotes that you bump into as you kind of like go around the country.